everybody, in this video we're going to go over how to solve some basic equations. Alright, so a quick reminder, when we're solving equations, our goal is to get the variable or the letter by itself. That's our end goal. And we're going to do that by doing what's called opposite operations. So just reminder, the opposite of addition is subtraction and vice versa, and then the opposite of multiplication is division. Here is our variable here. So in order to undo PEMDAS, which is what we're doing when we're solving equations, we need to make sure that whatever is touching the variable, that cannot be moved until everything else gets moved to the other side by undoing that operation. So these notes are here for you to review if needed. So we're just gonna start at number 1. So this one says negative 6a is equal to negative 42. I like to draw my line for my equal sign, and I also like to put a box around whatever I'm solving for to remind me what I need to get by itself. The negative 6 to the a, when they're touching and there's nothing in between, that means multiply. So the opposite of multiply is going to be divide. Make sure when we're dividing, we divide by a negative 6. Whatever we do to one side, we have to do to the other side. On the left, they're going to cancel each other out. So I'm going to be left with an a. And then on the right side, make sure you put that in your calculator correctly. Negative 42 divided by negative 6. Two negatives make a positive, which gives me 7. All right, let's go on to the next one. Again, we're going to draw our line from our equal sign. I'm putting a box around x. And now we're looking at the negative 5. Right now it's a minus, so we need to undo it by adding 5. If I do it to the left of the equal sign, I also have to do it to the right. On the left, they are going to cancel, so I have an x. On the right, I'm going to add them together, and I get 21. All right, moving on to the next one. This one, this one's fun. We have a fraction here. When I have a fraction, I like to go piece by piece. If you want to rewrite this, technically what is happening, it is 3D divided by 4. If you want to think about it like that, you totally can, and sometimes that's a little bit easier. So if we are dividing by a number, I'm going to do the opposite and multiply. So I'm actually going to multiply each side by 4. If I multiply the left by 4, I also have to multiply the right by 4. On the left, they are going to cancel. And on the right, I'm going to multiply that out. So negative 33 multiplied by 4. I'm going to get my calculator. Make sure you put a multiply. And I'm going to get 132. 3D is equal to negative 132. Last step, we need to undo the 3. Right now it's touching D, so that means multiply. So the opposite is divide. Divide. When I divide, I'm getting D is equal to a negative 44. Be really careful of your negatives here. All right, moving on. All right, this one, we're going to have 2 steps again. Remember, I'm putting my box around X and doing my line here. Whatever's touching X, I cannot move until everything else moves to the other side. This is a positive 5, so the opposite would be minus, minus. On the left, they cancel. We're bringing down negative 3x. On the right, you can put that in your calculator and you will get 12. Last step, we divide each side by negative 3. Now be careful here. Negative 3, it's easy to want to say plus, but remember when the x and the number are touching, that means multiply. So to undo multiply, we need to divide. They cancel on the left. What we do to the left, we have to do to the right. We get x is equal to a negative 4. All right, moving on here to number 5. Again, we're going to draw our line and put a box around our variable. Everything touching cannot be moved until I move this 6 here. So 6 right now is positive. There's not a positive there, but we know it to be positive. So to undo a positive, we are going to subtract 6. And remember, we did it on the left side of the equal sign, so we need to do it now on the right side. On the left, they cancel. I'm bringing down 1 over 3x. 14 minus 6 is 8. And now my very last step, 1/3 x is the same thing as x divided by 3 or 1x divided by 3. If you want to write it like that, totally write it like that. We want to get rid of that denominator, the bottom of the fraction. It's being divided, so the opposite would be to multiply. We are going to multiply it on the left side. The 3's are going to cancel. If we do it to the left, we have to do it to the right. I'm bringing down 1x. 8 times 3 is 24. We can leave this as is, or if you really want to, you can divide by 1 on both sides, and then x will still be 24. Remember, 1x is just the same as x. All right, moving on to number 6. We are speeding through these, y'all. All right, so on this one, notice what's happening here. I'm drawing my line. I have x's, or I guess they're y's, on the left and the right side. When that happens, your number one goal is to get all your y's over to one side. They're friends, they want to be happy together. So I want to take this whole entire 3y. I don't want to split it up yet. I want to take the 3 and y together. So we're not going to divide, we're going to minus. We're going to take away 3 y's from both sides. So I'm going to say minus 3 y's. If I do it on the right side, I have to do it on the left side, but be careful here. I can either subtract it to the first term or the second term. Make sure you do it with the other y. So I'm gonna say minus 3y underneath the already 5y's there. 5y's, take away 3y's is 2y's, and then everything else just comes down. These cancel, and I have minus 12 here. So that's step number 1. Your y's need to go to one side. Then I know how to solve this. I'm going to move the number, the 6, to the other side. It's minus, so I'm going to add. 2y's is equal to, be careful in your calculator, negative 12 plus 6 is a negative 6. And then lastly, 2 times y. If you need to put the multiplication sign there, you can. To undo multiply, we are going to divide. So y is equal to a negative 3. All right, keeping on going here. So on to number 7. Again, we have lots of k's on the left and right side. So our goal is to move them all to one side. Technically, it doesn't matter which side, but usually we like to put it on the left. So that's what I'm going to do here. I'm looking already at the left side and I'm like, there's already 2 k's on this side. So let's go ahead and clean it up. When they're on the same side, we can combine like terms, and we're gonna do exactly what the signs say. We have 6 k's plus 3 more, so together 6 plus 3 is 9 k's. I'm gonna copy down the minus 7, and then I'm looking at the right side. 10 and 7 are both regular numbers. I can go ahead and combine them because they're like terms. So 10 plus 7 is 17, and I'm copying down the 5k. When the numbers are on the same sides, do exactly what the signs say. Okay, now I can go ahead and move my k's over. This says minus 5k on the right, so I'm going to do the opposite and add them. Remember, I don't want to split the 5 and the k. I want to keep them together, which is why I'm adding them. They cancel on the right. And then on the left side, I have to add them to the other k term, which is why I'm adding it there. 9 plus 5 is 14. Put your k. Everything else comes down. Next, I am going to move over the minus 7 by adding 7 to both sides. They cancel on the left, so I have 14k is equal to 24. And then lastly, I am going to divide 14, and you guys, we are going to get a decimal, and that is okay. So in my calculator, I'm doing 24 divided by 14. I'm getting k is equal to 1.71428, blah, 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 blah. We probably are not going to have that as an answer choice on our STAR test or on our test. So I'm going to pause really quickly, get my calculator, and show you guys how to put it in your calculator. All right, y'all, I am back. So in your calculator, you are going to click 24 divided by 14. Again, you're getting that big fraction. And then to get this fully reduced fraction, you can go ahead and click, after you click enter, you're going to click math, enter, enter, and you're going to get the fraction 12 over 7. So that's a really good trick to use for your STAR test or for any test that gives you multiple choice. So again, that is math. We clicked enter, enter, and then we got the answer of 12 over 7. So probably it'll be a reduced fraction on your test. Okay, moving on, we got a couple more. Ooh, all right, fun. So we have parentheses now, and what I want you to think about parentheses is we need to get rid of the parentheses. Think about the X and the 4, they are in jail and we need to free them. So whenever there is a number in front of your parentheses, we are going to distribute, which is the same thing as saying multiplying by everything on the inside. So that first -3 is going to be multiplied by X, which gives me -3X. And then -3 times 4 is the -12. Be really careful to take that negative with you. All right, next one. Again, same idea. We are going to distribute by multiplying. 6 times X is 6X. 6 times -8 is -48. Then again, we know how to go from here. All of the X's need to go to one side. So I'm going to minus 6X. I'm taking the whole 6X with me. They cancel on the right. I am going to subtract 6X's on the left. Be careful here in your calculator. You are clicking -3 minus 6 to give you a -9X. Everything else comes down. We are then going to move the 12 by adding 12 to both sides. On the left, they cancel. I bring down my -9. On the left, I get -36. And then last step, remember, that is really being multiplied by X. So to undo, I'm going to divide by exactly the same number. I'm dividing by a -9, a -9. So my X value is equal to a +4. All right, I believe we have 2 more. Ooh, these are extra fun. Okay, stay with me. On number 9, we have parentheses and we have fractions. First, we always get rid of the fractions. So I want you guys to look at this right here. There is a negative blank in front of the parenthesis. Remember, if there's not a number, we assume it to be 1. So I want you guys to always put a 1 right there. We are going to distribute the -1, not the 10. The 10 is by himself. He is not involved in this. We are going to bring down the 10 and then multiply. -1 times P is -1P. If you just want to write -P, that's okay too. And then -1 times 2 is a -2. Again, the most common mistake I see is people forget to multiply by the negative. So don't let that be you. Okay, and then that is equal to, on the right side, we are also going to distribute. We're distributing by 1/2. So you have 2 options. Number 1, you can type in 1 divided by 5 in parentheses and then multiply it by 5. Or we can think about it's really just dividing by 5. So I'm going to go through and divide by 5. 5 divided by 5 is just 1P. 20 divided by 5 is 4, so I have a -4. Either way totally works. All right, here is my line. I'm going to check. On the left side, I see 2 regular numbers without a P. I'm going to go ahead and combine them together. They are on the same side, so I'm going to do exactly what the sign says. 10 minus 2, which gives me 8. Everything else I am going to copy down exactly. My left and right side look simplified. Now I'm going to move all of my P's to one side. This is really 1P, so I'm going to subtract 1P, subtract 1P. All right, on this left side, be careful, it ain't 0. -1 minus 1 more gives you -2P's. The 8 comes down, the -4 comes down. I want to move the 8 to the other side. Right now, technically, it is positive because there's not anything in front. So I am going to subtract 8, subtract 8. -2P comes down. -4 minus 8 more is -12. Divide is my last step by -2. So my P value is equal to 6. All right, guys, we are on the last one. Exciting. All right, here is my last one. All right, this one I cannot do what I did on the last one because we have a fraction on the top. So I would say probably the easiest thing to do is you're gonna go to your handy dandy calculator and you are going to put parenthesis, I'm gonna write it here, parenthesis 5 divided by 4, close parenthesis, times 16. I will show you what that looks like in your calculator. It is really important that you have those parentheses just to make sure that your order of operations are correct. I don't even know if you can see that, but I tried. Okay, so you're gonna put that in your calculator and your answer that you're gonna get is 20. I'm gonna go ahead and erase this. And then again, you are gonna put that in your calculator, so you're gonna get minus 10s, and that is equal to, on the right side, we need to be careful. What number is directly in front of your parenthesis? It is a -3. That is what you are distributing to the 2 and to the 4s. The 8 is not involved. He is just coming down. He's just happy to be there. -3 times 2 is a -6. -3 times 4s is a -12s. What I also do not want you to do is I do not want you to do 8 minus 3. We are not going to do that because parentheses always come first. Once we have distributed our parentheses, then we can say, hey, Miss Kish, I see an 8 and a -6. Now that there are no parentheses, now we can go ahead and combine them. They're on the same side, so I do exactly what the sign says. 8 minus 6 is 2. Everything else gets copied down the left side as well. And then my last step, I need all my s's to one side. On the right, they are minus 12 s's. I'm going to do the opposite by adding 12 s's to both sides. Remember to add it to the term on the left that already has the s. 20 comes down. -10 plus 12 is a positive 2s. That is equal to 2 on the right side. Lastly, not lastly, maybe second to lastly, I'm going to subtract 20 on both sides. They cancel on the left. 2s is equal to -18. And here we are, our very last step. Divide by 2 on both sides. They cancel on the left. 18 divided by 2 is 9. Make sure you put your negative there. And we are done. All right, you guys, you made it. If you guys have questions, please ask me or your teacher. If not, I will see y'all in the next one.